first question I've got to ask, obviously disappointing result for Manchester City, but I want to ask you specifically, if I may, about Haaland, mate, because clearly not at his best yesterday. I couldn't believe his start. No touches, no opposition box and things like that. We know he's arguably the best finisher, or definitely the best finisher for me, centre forward in the world. Are City not playing to his strengths?
I don't think they are, and this is why I said a few weeks ago that I'm not too sure that he really improved the team, and it wasn't criticism on the player, because if you look at his goal scoring stats, it's very impressive how many goals he scored. But City was always a team that suffocated teams with a fluidity, with a rhythm, with their possession, and I think sharing the goals was also a big strength of them. Obviously, that has changed now, and I know he scored a few hat-tricks already this season, but the bottom line is, as you know, Ali, as a team, you need to see at the end of the season how many goals you scored as a team, not one single player, and how many trophies you win. And I think the jury is still out whether he did improve them, because I've seen a lot of games this season where he hardly took part in the game. And, he was bored. He's exactly probably the player Pep never wanted, because at Barcelona he sent every centre forward away. They played without a real centre forward for most of his time at Manchester City. So I think the jury is still out.
Why do you think he started Kevin De Bruyne on the bench? Did it surprise you when you saw that?
Yeah, absolutely, because it was a chance to reduce the deficit after that Arsenal loss at Everton. So I was surprised. Because, if you look at the goals Haaland scored, most of them were probably set up by De Bruyne. So it was a surprise, I think, for most of us that he didn't start.
It's an interesting one as well. Didi, what's your take on it? I mean, listen, they're a fantastic team, City, and they're more than capable, and I expect them to keep going, and they'll certainly be in the mix and could win it. But you look at for example, left back position, Cancelo. There's rumours of a fallout with Pep there. He's away. Let Zinchenko go, and they play Lewis at left back. I know he's prepared to do that, Guardiola, but surely it's not ideal, is it?
No. Obviously, he's a young player who's very talented, but to let Cancelo go that late in the transfer window, I think was very, very strange. He had a very good start to his Bayern Munich career. He played right back the first two games, already set 2-3 goals up, and you need experience in your side. And obviously, when you've got a player like Haaland who needs service, then Cancelo is always a player who can do that. So that was very surprising.
I want to talk about Liverpool as well, one of your other former teams. A loss at Molineux against Wolves, a good ball side, but 3-0. That's another surprising result, Didi. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I'm not sure the way Liverpool is going at the moment. At the moment, it was too surprising. We saw in the FA Cup what a good team Wolves are, because they probably could or should have won at Anfield. It's just too easy to play against Liverpool at the moment. I think a couple of years ago, nobody wanted to play them because they bullied you. They made good decisions. They created chances. They hardly gave a chance away. And now it's just too easy to create chances. And if you miss one, you always know you get another one, which wasn't the case 2 years ago. To me, they look like a team that's mentally and physically exhausted. They can't replace the players who are injured at the moment. So you have to hope that some of the players come back, because short term, I'm not sure it'll get better very, very quick.
They're sitting in 10th at the moment after that loss. So they're 11 points off the top four. They're 21 points behind Arsenal, who are at the top. Over the weekend as well, we'll play you something now, Didi. He refused to answer a question from the Athletics journalist James Pearce. Have a listen.
That has been a theme throughout the season, starting so slowly. I know you said you can't explain it, but do you think it is a mentality thing? Does it make you look at how you prepare for games? The fact that they can then start a game so slowly when you've had a whole week on the training field?
It's very difficult to talk to you, if I'm 100% honest. I would prefer not to do that. You know why? For all the things you wrote, so if somebody else wants to ask that question, then I answer it, and if not, you ask it.
Okay, that was at the weekend in the press conference. It surprised a few people in the world of journalism, I think, because I think James Pearce has been pretty fair in the past to Jurgen Klopp. What did you make of the comments?
Well, I know James from his time at the Echo when I was at Liverpool, and he's a very thorough and a well-respected journalist, as you know, Laura. And I've found it very strange and petty, because what you have to realise, or what he has to realise, that James Pearce and his family get bombarded since that incident with abusive messages, threats for no reason. because he didn't answer a question. I think it was a perfectly good question to ask him. And he gets bombarded now with threats and abusive messages. And I think the least James deserves is an apology. And I also think it's not the first time this happens with Liverpool. Now, Liverpool is a club that's based on respect. I think if you could go back to the days with Shankly and Paisley, I think this club is based on respect. And I think there's a time now where somebody within the club has to say to him, this is Liverpool Football Club. You can't do this. Because we have a respect campaign with the Premier League, we have campaigns against bullying, and you can't have the Liverpool manager behave the way he did. I feel that nobody in the club is probably, has the bottle to tell him, which I think they should. And at the same time, if somebody says something, he might say, well, if I got a few players, maybe I wouldn't have to answer these questions. So there might be a bit of a standoff. But the way things are going at the moment, and also these press conferences, these things don't help him, and they certainly don't help the club. And the club is above everything else. And I think they've got to sort it out pretty quickly, because we can't have a situation where a manager of Liverpool Football Club disrespects a very well-respected journalist like James Pearce the way he did on Saturday.